My beloved child, listen to me very closely today. Do not scroll past this moment, because I have brought you here for a specific reason. You are not listening to these words by accident. I see you. I see the quiet heaviness you carry in your heart when you look back at your life. I know there are days when you look in the mirror and wonder where all the time went. You see the silver in your hair and the lines on your face, and a silent fear whispers to you that your best days are already behind you. It tells you that the clock has run out, that you have missed your chance, and that the years you spent pouring your soul into others, the years you spent struggling, weeping, and surviving, were somehow completely wasted. My child, I have heard the unspoken grief in your spirit. I have seen the nights when you sat alone in the quiet of your room, feeling the ache of unfulfilled promises and dreams that seem to have slipped through your fingers. You have asked yourself if it is simply too late. You have looked at the calendar and felt a deep, heavy sorrow, believing that the season for your joy, your peace, and your harvest has permanently passed. You have felt like a tree that has lost its leaves, standing bare in the cold winter of life, wondering if spring will ever come to your branches again. You have carried this silent grief for so long, hiding it behind a gentle smile so that your family and friends would not worry about you. But I am speaking to you right now to interrupt that lie. I did not design your life to end in quiet regret. The world measures your worth by youth, by speed, and by the passing of years. But I am not bound by the calendars of men. I am the creator of time itself. The years you thought the enemy stole from you, the years you thought were eaten by sickness, by heartbreak, by confusion, or by the wrong choices. I have kept a record of every single one of them. You thought they were lost in the wind, but I tell you today that they have been safe in my hands. You are about to step into a season of divine restoration. I am about to do something so beautiful in your life that it will make you forget the days of your weeping. Do not turn away from me now. Stay with me. My beloved child, now that you have stayed to listen, I want you to understand something crucial about the years you grieve over. You have looked at the calendar and thought, I spent my best years on the wrong people, on the wrong places, and on battles that were not even mine to fight. You have felt the heavy sting of betrayal, the quiet heartbreak of giving your absolute best to those who did not appreciate the depth of your sacrifice. You stayed when others left. You loved when it was difficult. You held families together. You worked through pure exhaustion, and you placed your own dreams on a dusty shelf so that someone else could shine. And now, in the quietness of your later years, the enemy comes to whisper that you were foolish, that you were used, and that you have absolutely nothing left for yourself. I want to silence that accusing voice in your mind right now. I saw every single sacrifice you made. Not one act of love, not one moment of patience, not one tear shed in secret was ever wasted. You thought you were merely losing time, but in the realm of the spirit, you were building a massive foundation of character, of empathy, and of profound spiritual depth that an easy life could never have produced. The people you helped might have forgotten your kindness, but I did not forget. The world may not applaud your quiet endurance, but heaven has recorded every single moment of it. You have watched others walk into their blessings, their seasons of harvest, and their joyous moments, and you have silently asked me, Lord, when is it my turn? Did you pass me by? You felt like a forgotten seed buried deep in the dark soil, wondering if the warmth of the sun would ever reach you. But my child, a seed that is buried for a long time is not forgotten. It is simply being prepared to hold a massive tree. The darker the soil and the longer the waiting, the deeper the roots must grow. I allowed the delay not to punish you, but to protect the beautiful thing I was forming inside of your heart. If I had brought the blessing sooner, the harsh winds of life might have uprooted you. But now you are anchored, you are strong. The years of waiting were not a burial, they were a holy planting. The time was not stolen, it was invested into making your spirit completely unshakable. My beloved child, I know that the long years of waiting have taken a profound toll on you, not just in your spirit, but in your very body. I see you when you wake up in the mornings and your joints ache, when your energy feels completely depleted before the day even begins. I see that invisible, heavy weight you carry on your shoulders, a heaviness that no medical doctor can fully diagnose or cure. The world looks at you and carelessly tells you that this is simply what it means to grow old. They tell you to just accept the fading of your strength, the slowing of your steps, and the dimming of your light. But I see the absolute truth. Those physical aches, that deep, relentless exhaustion you feel in your very bones, they are not just the ordinary signs of passing time. They are the physical scars of the intense spiritual and emotional battles you have fought for your family, for your children, and for your own survival. You have absorbed the stress, the anxiety, and the fears of everyone around you, carrying their burdens until it quite literally wore your body down. Look at your hands. Look at the lines deeply etched into your skin. Those are not just the marks of aging. They are the sacred maps of your endurance. They are the beautiful, undeniable proof that you loved fiercely, that you held on, and that you worked tirelessly even when you were running on empty. But hear my voice clearly today. You do not have to carry that crushing physical and emotional weight for one more second. I am stepping in right now to gently lift that massive burden off your tired shoulders. I am breathing fresh, healing life into your weary bones. Just as I have the power to restore your lost years, I have the power to completely renew your physical strength. I am reversing the spiritual exhaustion that has aged you before your time. I am sending a warm, comforting, and refreshing wind into your body and your anxious mind. You are going to wake up soon and feel a sudden lightness you have not felt in decades. You will feel a supernatural peace and energy that reminds you your Creator is far from finished with you. The restoration I am bringing is not just for your soul. It is a complete renewal of your mind, your spirit, and your beautiful, weary body. My beloved child, as we continue this journey together right now, I need to address the silent anxiety that grips your heart when you think about tomorrow. You lie awake at night calculating, worrying about how you will manage, wondering if your resources, your finances, your health, your energy will simply run out. There is a deep, hidden terror inside you that you rarely speak aloud, the profound fear of losing your independence, the fear of eventually becoming a burden to your children, to your family, or to the people you love. You have spent your entire life being the provider, the caregiver, the strong and steady pillar that everyone else leaned on in their times of trouble. The mere thought of needing help, of being vulnerable and dependent in your later years, fills you with a quiet dread. I see that heavy fear, and I am telling you today to completely lay it down at my feet. You were never meant to carry the crushing weight of tomorrow. The world tries to convince you that your security is found entirely in your bank account, in your physical independence, or in the meticulous plans you make. But I am your ultimate provider. I am the one who fed the multitudes with a few loaves of bread, and I am the exact same God who will sustain you in every single season of your life. Do you truly believe that I would carry you through the massive storms of your youth, protect you through the fierce battles of your middle years, only to abandon you now when your hair has turned silver? That is a cruel lie from the enemy, designed only to rob you of your present peace. I want you to rest in this truth today. I have already gone ahead of you into your future. I have already prepared the exact provision you will need for every single day that is to come. I will send the right people, the right resources, and the absolutely perfect grace at exactly the right time. You will not be a burden, my child. You will be a blessing. Your presence, your hard-earned wisdom, and your prayers are infinitely more valuable to your family than you can possibly comprehend. I am breaking the chains of financial anxiety and the fear of helplessness off of your mind right now. Breathe deeply, inhale my supernatural peace, and exhale that heavy, suffocating dread. You are deeply, fiercely loved, and your tomorrow is entirely, permanently secure in my hands. My beloved child, as I lift the heavy burden of tomorrow from your shoulders, I also want to reach deep into your past and remove the heavy stones of regret that you have been secretly carrying for decades. I see the quiet moments when you look back and painfully judge yourself. You think about the mistakes you made in your younger years. You remember the times you lost your patience, the decisions that did not turn out the way you had hoped, and the moments you feel you somehow failed the people you love the most. You carry a silent, suffocating shame, whispering to yourself that if you had only known better, things would be entirely different today. You torture your own mind with endless what-ifs and if-onlys, allowing the enemy to use your own history as a cruel weapon to completely drain your present joy. But my precious child, listen to the truth of heaven right now. My grace is infinitely larger than your history. The blood shed on the cross has completely and permanently covered the things you cannot undo. When I look at you, I do not see a collection of failures, regrets, and missed opportunities. I see my beautiful, fully redeemed masterpiece. I am not only restoring the years that the enemy stole from you, but I am also miraculously redeeming the time you feel you wasted through your own human frailty. I am doing a profound, unseen work of healing, not just inside of you, but in your entire family line. I hear the desperate, tearful prayers you have whispered for your children, for your grandchildren, and for the relationships that have been deeply strained or completely broken by time, misunderstanding, and distance. You may look at your family situation right now and see division, cold silence, or wandering hearts, and you wonder if your prayers are even making a difference anymore. I tell you today, do not stop praying. Even when you see absolutely no movement on the surface, I am actively and powerfully working in the deep waters of their hearts. I am answering the cries you poured out on their behalf in the midnight hours, the seeds of faith, kindness, and love that you planted in them years ago have not died in the dirt. I am watering them with my spirit right now. I need you to release your adult children into my capable hands. Release the crushing guilt of your past mistakes. I am bringing divine reconciliation, profound peace, and holy order back to your family. The story of your legacy is far from over, and its final glorious chapter will be written entirely by my redeeming love. My beloved child, as I heal your past and secure your family's future, I must also speak to the quiet resignation that has slowly settled over your own spirit. Somewhere along the way, perhaps without even realizing it, you began to spiritually pack your bags. You started to believe that your main assignment on this earth was already completed. You looked at your age, your fading energy, and the rapidly changing world around you, and you secretly concluded that from now on, you are merely waiting for the end. You told yourself that the time for dreaming, for building, and for stepping into new assignments belongs exclusively to the younger generation. You have settled into a quiet, comfortable numbness, accepting a routine that merely exists rather than a life that vibrantly and joyfully lives. But I am calling you out of that spiritual sleep right now. I did not breathe my eternal life into your lungs so you could spend your final chapters just fading into the shadows. Your purpose does not have an expiration date attached to it. Remember my servant Moses. He did not even begin his greatest, most world-changing assignment until he was 80 years old. Abraham and Sarah saw their greatest miracle when the rest of the world said it was biologically impossible. Do you honestly think I am limited by the number of candles on your birthday cake? Do you think my supernatural power diminishes just because your physical body moves a little slower than it used to? The enemy wants you to sit quietly in the corner, feeling irrelevant and forgotten, because he is absolutely terrified of the wisdom, the prayer power, and the spiritual authority you have accumulated over all these years. You are carrying a massive, holy reservoir of lived experience. You have survived brutal storms that the younger generation has not even faced yet. You possess a depth of faith that cannot be learned in any book. It had to be forged in the fierce fires of your own survival and waiting. I need that profound wisdom now. I am not finished using your voice. I am about to open completely unexpected doors for you. Doors of quiet but massive influence. Shake off that heavy blanket of feeling useless. Wake up your spirit today. You are positioned for a beautiful, entirely new assignment. My beloved child, as you step into this new assignment and embrace the beautiful purpose I still have for you, there is a critical lesson you must learn. You must learn to clearly hear my voice amidst the deafening noise of this modern world. I know the sheer volume of voices fighting for your attention. Every single day there is the endless noise of the news that constantly preaches fear, the noise of other people's opinions, the noise of your daily responsibilities, and the loud, anxious chatter inside your own mind. The enemy knows he cannot destroy your soul, so he tries to keep you perpetually distracted. He wants to fill your days with so much urgency, so much worry and so much mental clutter that you simply cannot hear my gentle, guiding whisper. You have asked me for direction. You have prayed for clarity, wondering which path to take and how to handle the sudden challenges standing in front of you. But my child, absolute clarity does not come when your mind is running in 100 different directions at once. I am speaking to you right now, but my voice is not a chaotic shout. It is a steady, peaceful, and unwavering flame. To recognize it, you must intentionally turn down the competing lights. You must carve out moments of absolute stillness with me. I know that sometimes you avoid the silence, because when things finally get quiet, the old aches, the past regrets, and the hidden fears try to rise to the surface. You keep yourself incredibly busy just to drown out those heavy thoughts. But do not fear the quiet, for that is exactly the place where I am waiting to completely heal those very aches. Silence, with me, is never empty. It is deeply, miraculously full of life. When you pause before making a rushed decision, when you take a deep breath before reacting to a fearful thought, you are opening a holy gate for my supernatural peace to enter your mind. I want you to start practicing this today. Before you turn on the television, before you answer that stressful phone call, sit with me for just a few moments. Say, Father, quiet my anxious mind and speak directly to my heart. You will begin to notice a profound difference in your spirit. You will quickly learn to recognize the clear difference between the voice of fear, which rushes you and causes panic, and my voice, which leads you with a calm, undeniable assurance. Guard your attention very carefully, my precious child, because what you consistently listen to will ultimately shape the peace of your soul. My beloved child, now that you are learning to find my voice in the silence, There is a heavy habit we must gently but firmly break together today. It is the habit of postponement. It is the quiet, subtle sleep of saying, "I will obey later." I watch as you hear my instruction, whether it is to finally forgive someone who hurt you deeply, to release a bitter memory, to change an unhealthy pattern, or to step into a new environment, and you feel the conviction in your heart. But then you whisper to yourself, "I will do it tomorrow when I feel stronger. I will do it when things are calmer. I will do it when I am not so incredibly tired." My child, I know exactly why you delay. I do not condemn you for it. It is not out of rebellion. It is out of self-protection. You have survived so much heartbreak and exhaustion that you are terrified to disrupt whatever fragile peace you currently possess. You think that by waiting, you are being wise, safe, and cautious. But listen to my heart right now. Delaying what you know I have asked you to do is not protecting you. It is slowly putting your spirit to sleep. It is keeping you standing out in the cold hallway when I have already prepared a glorious warm room for you. Every single time you tell me later, a small part of your spiritual sensitivity becomes numb. I am calling you right now to completely stop negotiating with my voice. You do not need to feel completely ready, and you do not need to have the entire staircase illuminated before you move. You only need to take the very first step. I will never ask you to carry a weight you cannot bear. If I'm telling you to finally let go of that heavy resentment today, it is because I already have the healing grace waiting to fill your empty hands. If I'm asking you to step out of your comfortable routine, it is because your next massive miracle is waiting on the other side of that obedience. Take the step today, even if your legs are trembling. My hand is securely holding yours, and I will absolutely not let you fall. My beloved child, as we break the heavy chains of postponement today, I must also speak to you about a subtle danger that often masquerades as wisdom. It is the quiet trap of partial obedience. I see the moments when you bring your heavy burdens to my altar, but you only leave half of them there. You surrender your worries about tomorrow, but you secretly hold tightly to the deep regrets of yesterday. You forgive the person who hurt you just enough to be polite, but you still keep that sharp, bitter root hidden deep in the soil of your heart. You say yes to my comforting promises, but you carefully keep one foot anchored in your old comfort zone, just in case my plan does not work out exactly the way you expect. I want you to think about King Saul from the ancient scriptures. He was chosen, he was loved, and he was given a very clear instruction, but he chose to obey only the parts that felt convenient, practical, and safe to him. He kept what he wanted and offered the rest as a sacrifice, believing that partial obedience was good enough to please heaven. But my precious child, partial obedience is still a closed door. When you hold back a piece of your heart out of fear, you are also holding back the miraculous healing that I so desperately want to pour into that exact space. You cannot experience the absolute fullness of my grace while keeping your hands tightly closed around your own backup plans. I am not speaking this to condemn you. I am speaking this because I love you far too much to let you live a divided life. A divided heart is an incredibly exhausting thing to carry. I see how it drains your energy every single day. You spend so much of your physical and emotional strength trying to trust me while simultaneously trying to protect yourself from getting hurt again. But hear me now, you do not need to protect yourself anymore. I am your shield. The world may have taught you that vulnerability is dangerous, that if you give everything, you will be left with absolutely nothing. But in my kingdom, full surrender is the only true pathway to complete, unshakable freedom. I am asking you today to stop holding back. Give me the hidden fears, the secret doubts, and the deep grudges you think you have a right to keep. Lay it all down completely. Trust me with the whole of your beautiful heart, and watch how I instantly fill every single empty space with a profound joy and peace that partial surrender could never, ever bring. My beloved child, as I ask you for your complete and total surrender, I want you to truly understand the tone of my voice today. You might feel a deep, urgent conviction stirring in your spirit as you listen to these words. Sometimes the enemy will try to twist that holy conviction and tell you that I am angry with you, or that I am harshly judging you for your past mistakes and your seasons of delay. But I need you to hear the absolute truth of heaven. My strong voice is born of pure love, not anger. If I speak to you with urgency, it is only because I see a hidden danger or a missed opportunity that your human eyes cannot yet perceive. A loving father does not gently whisper when his child is wandering toward a dangerous edge. He calls out with a strong, clear voice to bring them safely back home. Think about the ancient stories of my mercy. When I sent warnings to people who had wandered far off the path, I did not send those warnings because I wanted to destroy them. I sent them because I desperately wanted to save them. The warning itself was the ultimate, undeniable proof of my mercy. If I had given up on you, if I had decided that your story was over, I would have simply remained silent. I would have let you continue walking in the comfortable numbness of your daily routine. But I have not given up on you, and I never will. The very fact that you are feeling this profound stirring inside your chest right now is proof that my spirit is actively, passionately pursuing your heart. I am calling you to a deep spiritual awakening today. I do not want you to merely listen to this message, shed a few tears, feel a fleeting moment of comfort, and then go right back to the exact same heavy life you were living yesterday. I want this exact moment to be your permanent turning point. I want you to pray with me right now. You do not need polished, perfect, or religious words. Just speak to me from the raw, honest place in your soul. Say, Father, awaken the places inside me that have grown numb. Forgive me for the times I heard your voice and chose my own comfort instead. Break the heavy chains of delay, fear, and partial obedience completely off my life. I am ready to move when you open the door. My precious child, when you offer a sincere prayer like that, heaven literally moves on your behalf. I am taking your honest return right now and turning it into the unshakable foundation of your greatest breakthrough. My beloved child, now that you have prayed that honest prayer of awakening with me, I want to gently take you by the hand and lead you out of the deepest valley you have been living in. It is the valley of mere survival. For so many years, you have lived under the heavy assumption that your only remaining task on this earth was simply to endure. You woke up, you managed your physical pain, you worried about your family, you handled your daily tasks, and you went back to sleep. You learned the exhausting rhythm of survival so incredibly well that survival itself began to feel like your entire calling. You quietly accepted that simply getting through the day without completely falling apart was the absolute best you could ever hope for. But I am speaking directly to your spirit right now. I did not create you just to survive. I created you to completely overcome. I miraculously preserved your life through those brutal storms, through the devastating personal losses, and through the quiet nights of weeping. Not so you could build a permanent house in the valley of grief, but so I could lead you back up to the mountaintop. There is a massive eternal difference between merely existing and truly living. Existing constantly hides from pain. Living brings that pain boldly into my presence for healing. Existing simply says, I just need to get through this difficult day. Living looks up and says, Father, Show me exactly how to walk with you in this day with power, peace, and purpose. I am calling you today to actively overcome the invisible, inward chains that have held you hostage for decades. The chain of fear that constantly tells you to stay small and unnoticed. The chain of self-blame that keeps you endlessly rehearsing your old failures. The heavy chain of people-pleasing that makes you seek approval from voices that do not even know your divine purpose. You have worn these heavy, cold chains for so long that you have actually started calling them your personality. You look in the mirror and say, "This is just who I am now. I am just a quiet, tired, anxious person." But my precious child, that is a cruel lie from the enemy. That is not the holy identity I wrote for you before the foundation of the world. I called you a victor. I called you a resilient warrior of faith. It is time to take off those heavy, dusty garments of mere survival and put on the beautiful robe of victory that I have already prepared for you. My beloved child, as you step out of that dark valley of mere survival and put on your beautiful garment of victory, there is a profound spiritual truth I must reveal to you today. You need to understand exactly why the battles in your mind and in your circumstances have suddenly felt so incredibly intense lately. I want you to listen to me very carefully. Massive breakthrough and intense distraction almost always stand very close together. When a new door of blessing is finally about to open for you, when a long-awaited shift in your family, your finances, or your health is quietly approaching, the lesser voices around you will suddenly fight much harder for your attention. You may have noticed this pattern already. Just when you started to feel a renewed sense of hope, just when you decided to fully trust me and let go of your past, an unexpected conflict flared up. A sudden terrifying worry appeared out of nowhere. An old ache returned to your body, or a careless, harsh word from someone you love deeply stung your heart. The enemy is desperately trying to convince you that these sudden storms are proof that my promises to you are failing. He wants you to look at the terrifying wind and the crashing waves, panic, and step right back into your old, familiar boat of depression and anxiety. But my precious child, I tell you the absolute truth today. That sudden, fierce resistance is not a sign of your defeat. It is the undeniable, glorious proof that you are standing right on the edge of your greatest breakthrough. The enemy does not waste his strongest distractions on a person who is spiritually asleep and defeated. He only fiercely attacks the one who is actively waking up. He is absolutely terrified of what your life is going to look like when you fully realize the divine power, peace, and authority you carry in my name. This is exactly why I am urgently instructing you to fiercely guard your attention in this specific season. Your attention is the sacred doorway to your soul. What you consistently look at will inevitably shape what you believe. If you stare at your overwhelming problems, your faith will shrink. But if you keep your eyes locked completely on my unwavering promises, your fears will entirely dissolve. Do not give your hard-earned peace away to every passing argument or every negative circumstance. Stand incredibly still. Keep your spirit deeply anchored to my voice. You have walked far too long a distance and survived far too many brutal storms to let a temporary distraction pull you away from the permanent miracle I am about to place directly into your hands. My beloved child, as you fiercely guard your attention and stand on the very edge of your breakthrough, there is an ancient holy lesson I must remind you of today. Think of the story of Lot. He was living in a place that had become incredibly dangerous, yet it was familiar to him. When my messengers came to rescue him, they did not just offer a polite suggestion. They gave an urgent instruction to move, and they strictly told him not to look back. I am giving you that exact same holy instruction right now. Grace is not just a comforting blanket that covers your mistakes. Grace is an actively open doorway, but an open door cannot save you if you stubbornly refuse to walk through it. I am opening new ways for you right now, new ways of thinking, new ways of living, new healthy boundaries, and a completely new level of peace. But to step into this glorious new room, you must be entirely willing to leave the old room behind. You simply cannot carry the heavy, toxic baggage of your past into the sacred space of your future. I see how deeply tempted you are to look back. When the new path feels a little uncertain, the human mind always tries to romanticize the past. You start thinking about the old days, the old relationships, the old habits, and the old ways of coping, conveniently forgetting how much pain and exhaustion those things actually caused you. You whisper to yourself, maybe it wasn't so bad, maybe I should just go back to what I know. But my precious child, returning to what I have already delivered you from is a dangerous trap. The familiar is not always safe, and comfort is not always a sign of my presence. Do not look back with longing at the very things my fierce mercy is trying to pull you away from. Do not keep building emotional altars to your old grief, your past failures, or the people who walked away from you. If I remove something from your life, or if I am asking you to leave a certain mindset behind today, it is because I clearly see the massive limitation it will bring to your tomorrow. Move when my grace opens the way. Step forward with absolute, unwavering confidence. The beautiful horizon I have prepared for you is entirely in front of you, not behind you. Let go of the past right now, and let my spirit gently but firmly pull you forward into the light. My beloved child, as you choose to step forward without looking back at your past, I want to gently prepare your heart for the very next phase of your journey. To walk confidently in this new season, you must learn a holy truth that your natural human mind will fiercely resist. True obedience often goes entirely beyond human logic. Think of the ancient story of Elijah and the widow. I sent my prophet not to a wealthy palace with abundant resources, but to a poor widow who had almost nothing left. She had only a tiny handful of flour and a few drops of oil. In her mind, she was gathering sticks to prepare her final meal. She was preparing for an ending, but I was preparing a massive generational miracle. I know exactly how she felt, because I see that exact same quiet desperation inside of your heart right now. You look at your life, your fading physical energy, your limited finances, or your weary, battered spirit, and you whisper to me in the dark, Lord, I have almost nothing left to give. I am just holding on to this last little bit. You look at the years ahead and feel an overwhelming panic, convinced that your resources, your strength, your time, your joy are completely drying up. The world's logic tells you to be terrified. It tells you to fiercely protect the tiny bit of strength you have left, to hide away, and to expect the absolute worst. But my precious child, human logic is completely blind to the mathematics of heaven. What looks like a tragic, empty jar to you is actually the perfect vessel for my supernatural provision. I am not asking you to pretend that your jar is full. I know you are incredibly tired. I know you feel stretched to your absolute breaking limit. I am simply asking you to take that nearly empty jar and place it entirely into my hands. Do not despise the small amount of faith, energy, or hope you feel you have left. The widow's miracle did not happen while she was sitting and staring at her lack. The infinite provision flowed the exact moment she chose to obey, despite her terrifying fear. I will sometimes ask you to take a step, to forgive, to pray, or to completely trust me when it makes absolutely no logical sense to your circumstances. When human reason screams that it is impossible, let your faith boldly remind you of exactly who is speaking to you. I am the God of the overflowing jar. Bring me your deepest exhaustion. Bring me your heavy, not enough, and watch how I miraculously multiply it into a beautiful season of absolute abundance. You will not run dry. You are permanently sustained by my hand. My beloved child, we have reached the end of this specific message today, but I want you to know that this is only the beautiful, glorious beginning of our entirely new chapter together. You have stayed with me through every single word. You have bravely allowed my light to pierce through the heavy, dark clouds of your past regrets, your crushing anxieties about tomorrow, and the quiet, hidden fears regarding your fading strength. You have heard my urgent call to wake up from the dangerous sleep of postponement, to stop negotiating with partial obedience, and to boldly step forward without looking back when my grace opens a new door. You now fully understand that your nearly empty jar is not an ending. It is the exact place where my infinite supernatural provision begins. I want you to take one final, deep breath right now. Inhale my absolute, unwavering peace, and exhale the very last remnants of your emotional and physical exhaustion. The brutal spiritual warfare that has been relentlessly exhausting your mind and prematurely aging your body is fundamentally shifting today. You do not have to fight this intense battle in your own fragile human strength anymore. I am stepping directly in front of you. The massive, suffocating burden you have been carrying for your children, your finances, and your health is now officially resting entirely on my strong shoulders. I am your fierce protector, your ultimate provider, and your eternal loving healer. If your spirit bears witness to these holy words today, if you can actually feel the heavy chains finally falling off your weary mind, I want you to seal this miraculous moment. Do not let it simply pass by. Speak it out loud and type Amen or I surrender everything, Lord, in the comments right now as a public act of your complete trust. Share this message with someone you know who is secretly crying themselves to sleep and desperately needs to hear my comforting voice today. Subscribe to this channel so we can continue to walk closely together every single day. Now close your eyes and finally rest, my precious child. You have survived the darkest, coldest nights, and your glorious, warm morning has finally arrived. Walk forward into tomorrow with your head held incredibly high. You are not forgotten. You are not a burden. You are profoundly, eternally loved, and your greatest season is unfolding right now. I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Peace be with your beautiful soul.